Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome to the second part of the deep dive into the BRRRR strategy. In today's video, we're going to talk about how do you find a tenant and how do you refinance your property. If you guys like this kind of content, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe. Let's go to the Ushanka studio. Okay, if you haven't seen the first part of the BRRRR deep dive, make sure you check that out first. In that video, we covered how do you purchase your first rental and how do you do the rehab. In this video, we're going to jump right into, after a rehab is done, how do we find that perfect tenant and how do we refinance this house in order to keep purchasing real estate. Okay, so a rehab is done. We want to make sure all trash is removed from the house. Get the house cleaned up, wash the floors, wash the windows, make it presentable so they want to live in this place. Then you want to snap some pictures. Take some pictures interior of the house, exterior, and write up a description. Sell this place. Mention all the upgrades you have done to it, what kind of neighborhood it's in, all the things that come with the house. Say if there's a brand new refrigerator, or you've installed a dishwasher, or you're including a washer and dryer, or there's central air, or there's garage, or there's parking, or you have a nice deck. Next, jump on Zillow, look up what other type of properties are renting in this area. You want to look at other houses and see, okay, what are they charging? So let's say if they're charging $1,100, $1,200, $1,300, $1,500, whatever that number is in your area, you want to make sure you are within the range of the comps. So get an idea, price out your property. I generally like to go right in the middle somewhere. I don't price it too low, and I don't want to outprice everybody. Now you're ready to list it. Normally I list it on Zillow. Zillow charges about $10 a week to list. You can also list it for free on places like Realtor, places like apartments.com. You can list it on Facebook. What's great about places like Zillow and apartments.com is that you can set up the application process right there. You don't have to shuffle any paperwork, trying to collect money to run background checks. This tool is amazing. And apartments.com offers the same tool as well. Okay, so we got our place listed, right? Well, now we want to prepare ourselves with lots of inquiries. You want to set up a system where you can screen potential tenants. Speaking from experience, let's say if you list a property within 1 week, personally I've had like over 100 inquiries. That's a lot of people to deal with. And what I found is out of those 100 people, usually about only 5% are people who are actually serious, who want to take the time to schedule an appointment to view this place. The rest of the people, they're just kind of browsing around, they're looking, you know, they're maybe imagining a place that they want to live in, but they're not ready financially, or maybe something going on in their family right now, or they still have a lease, but they're kind of just looking and they see something and they just click a button like, no, is this place still available? You'll get a lot of that on Facebook because it's a single click. And so what I do is I create sort of an auto response. So I create this message that I save on my phone. You can save like a text message. And in that message, I say something like, hi, thank you for inquiring about this property located at blah, blah, blah. This property is available. Please take the time to review these requirements, and then we can set up a phone call to discuss any questions that you might have. And in these requirements, I will list something like minimum income of 3 times the rent. So if you're going to be renting out your place for $1,000 a month, you want to look for somebody who makes at least $3,000 a month. That way you know they have enough money to cover their bills, to cover their food, to cover their car insurance. You don't want to stretch these people thin. So you want to have an applicant that can afford the place that you're providing to them. Okay, next you want to list your pet policy. If you decide you want to have any pets in this house, you want to put that in pre-qualification. Must not have any pets. Next thing you want to do is list any utilities that are tenant's responsibility. Then you want to list lawn care or snow removal. Whose responsibility would it be? Next I list, must not have any evictions in the past 5 years. A lot of this advice I've received from landlords that have been doing this for a while. So I've just adopted some of these strategies and I've tailored some of these requirements to my own personal needs. Okay, great. So we formed this message, this auto response message, and we're gonna start receiving these inquiries. So all we're going to do is we're going to copy that message, paste it in there. At the end of this message, I usually state something like this. If you meet or exceed these requirements, please reply with your full name, phone number, and a good time to reach you. That way you know this person actually read through all of the requirements that you've listed. What I find is 80% of the people don't actually read through everything. So now you've scheduled this phone call and you're calling this person up. And I've created a sheet that I use, that I print out. I have like a stack of them. And I go through each one of these lines with them on the phone. So let me show you what this sheet looks like. And I'll start out with, just for my documentation, I'll put the address of the property, I'll put the date that I'm calling, name, the phone number, and then I start calling them. So one of the first questions I'll ask them is, when are you looking to move in? Who's all in your family? Do you have any pets? Are you a smoker? What are your reasons for moving? Any evictions in the past 5 years? What's your gross monthly income? Where do you work? How many years you've worked there? I go over the utilities. I go over the lawn care and snow removal. Then I go over the security deposit. It's the same as the first month's rent. Then I go over the application process. Once you view this place and you like it, our application process is digital, and you have to fill it out online. Then we're gonna schedule a time to show this place. You kind of have to think of it as a funnel. So typically a funnel looks something like this, right? Okay, let me share with you some of the numbers that I get. Usually on a place, if I have it listed for 1 or 2 weeks, I'll have around 100 inquiries coming from Zillow, apartments, and Facebook. Then I use the auto response message. Out of the auto response message, I usually get about 25 people that actually reply to the message and say like, hey, you know, this is my name, call me at this time. After I do the phone call, I find out that about only 10 of those people actually meet the requirements. I schedule an appointment to see the property, and usually about half of them show up. So I have about 5 appointments to show the property. And then the application. Well, applications are usually between 2 or 3 applications. Okay, once you've received those applications, you review their credit history, you review their background check, their criminal history, and also in the application, you'll review their work history. And in the application, they'll also list the phone number and the name of their current landlord or their previous landlord. I call up that number and I talk to their landlord and I just ask them some basic questions. I say like, hey, I'm so-and-so, your tenant applied to our property. I just want to get some feedback here. Is this a good tenant? Do they pay on time? Do you have any issues? And I just kind of leave it open-ended for the landlord to go over it. Okay, once you pick your candidate, we're ready to start the next steps, which would be signing the lease. Now you can get free digital leases that are available through apartments.com and Zillow, and that's what I'm using. They're great. They have them tailored for each state. For the first month's rent and the security deposit, I typically ask for a certified check. You never want to take cash because you want to have a paper trail. All future payments are online only. I set up a payment system either through Apartments or Zillow. Okay, so you got the security deposit, you got the first month's rent. Next thing you want to do is make sure they set up utilities in their name. Once they move in, I usually give them a few weeks and then I'll do an initial inspection. This is not necessarily to be nosy or anything like that, but because we did a rehab, I look under every sink for drainage, make sure there's no leaks. I look behind the fridge, make sure the water is not leaking. Gotta look around, make sure everything is functional. Okay, great. So you've successfully got your tenant in and you're making money. Next step is to refinance. You want to look for a credit union or a bank that will allow you to do a cash out between 70 to 80%. So if we purchase a property for say $70,000 and we put in $10,000 into it, so we're at 80 grand, we want that appraisal to be at $100,000. So then the bank will give us 80% of that, which would be $80,000 again. So then we can repeat the BRRRR, right? So once you find that bank, you want to start the application process, and they're going to ask you for documents. Tax return, proof of insurance, copy of the lease, property taxes, financial statement, where you're going to fill out basically any assets that you have, any liabilities. So hopefully once they get all that information, they're going to schedule an appraisal on the property. They're going to look at the place, they're going to look at comparables in the neighborhood. Once the appraisal is done, the bank's going to pull your credit report, it's going to go through underwriting, and they'll present the information to you. So personally, I've been doing 15-year loans on my investment properties. I'm starting to consider to do 30-year loans just because it allows me to have more cash flow. But it also depends on what age you're at. So say if you are 50 years old I would probably recommend you do a 15-year loan. But say if you're 20 years old or 30 years old, a 30-year loan might actually be a better option for you. Once you close on the loan, they're going to deposit that money in your bank, and you're ready to do the last part of the BRRRR, which is repeat. You're going to look for your next deal, and you're going to buy the next property with that cash that you just got. Hopefully you found this video informational. If you have any questions, make sure you comment below, smash the like button, subscribe. See you later, guys. Whew.